Welcome to today's deep dive. So usually when we talk about gratitude, I think there is this expectation of it being, a very gentle, quiet practice.
Right, like a cozy little routine.
Exactly. You keep a little journal on your nightstand, and right before bed, you jot down, I am thankful for my morning coffee, or I am thankful the traffic was light today.
Yeah, you just check it off your list.
Great. You check it off, you go to sleep feeling a little bit better about the world. It's nice.
It is nice, but it's a very contained exercise. I mean, we treat it as this fleeting feeling that we just try to capture, almost like a coping mechanism, really, before we dive back into the chaos of our busy lives.
Yeah, comforting, but small. But we'll step into the framework we are dissecting today, and that little nightstand journal feels like it's been hit by a lightning bolt.
Oh, absolutely. It's totally different.
We are exploring an excerpt titled Proposition 9, Life of Gratitude. And this is part of a much broader existential framework known as purposehood. So for you listening, if you want the thorough knowledge without the fluff, that's our mission today. We're dismantling that cliche advice of just being thankful.
Because in this landscape, failing to practice a very specific, honestly fiercely demanding type of gratitude isn't just being a little pessimistic.
No, it's way bigger than that.
Okay.
According to this material, failing to practice it is a literal rejection of your own existence.
Yeah, leading straight to chronic anxiety and regret.
Which is wild. So let's set the stage here. How does this text actually define a life of gratitude?
Well, the text explicitly defines it as the unwavering knowledge that every being is a source of happiness, every challenge is fuel for success, and every moment is an opportunity for fulfillment.
Every challenge is fuel. Every moment is an opportunity.
Exactly. Gratitude in this framework is not a polite afterthought. It is literally the fundamental engine driving human evolution.
Okay, so to understand how gratitude actually operates as an evolutionary engine, the text maps out what it calls a massive sequential chain of existence. Because we have to look at who or what we're actually thanking, right?
Right, and it goes far, far beyond the barista who handed over that morning coffee.
Way beyond.
The author points to a concept called Poet Proposition 9. Poet referring to a philosophy of existential truth. And this proposition maps out a literal cosmic chain.
The cosmic chain. Okay, let's unpack this.
So it argues your gratitude must follow a very specific chronological path. First, you must be grateful to the initial spark of existence.
The initial spark.
Yeah, what the text abbreviates as ISH, or the initial source of happenstance.
Oh, wow. Okay, ISH.
From that origin point, you carry that gratitude forward to the universe for creating the conditions for life.
Right.
Then to nature for biologically constructing humanity. Then to humanity for building the societies that made you. And finally, and this is crucial, you must be grateful to yourself for being a creator of a better future.
Okay, unpacking that sequence, the visual that comes to my mind isn't just like a relay race. It is more like an unfathomably complex existential supply chain.
A supply chain, I like that.
Yeah, because the raw material has been passed down and refined over billions of years. You have that initial spark of existence cooling into stars and planets, then evolving into the biological emergence of ecosystems
Exactly.
and building the sociological constructs of human civilization. And after all of that immense cosmic labor and refinement, the final product is resting directly in your hands.
And shifting the perspective to that scale, well, it changes gratitude from a passive reflection on the past to an active, heavy responsibility for the future.
You're holding the output of billions of years of work.
Right. And notice that final link in the chain, being grateful to yourself. I mean, conventional thinking often frames intense self-gratitude as just pure ego.
Oh, totally. It sounds like an award speech where someone gets up and says, I'd like to thank me for being awesome.
Yeah, exactly. But in this framework, self-gratitude has nothing to do with arrogance. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is a profound recognition of your role as a creator in that ongoing supply chain.
So you aren't thanking yourself for being inherently superior.
No, not at all. You are acknowledging your place in the continuum. You're thanking yourself for taking on the heavy responsibility to build a better future. It is gratitude for accepting the assignment.
Okay, but if I am taking on this massive cosmic assignment, frankly, that sounds exhausting.
It does sound like a lot of work.
Right. What is the existential payoff for carrying that weight? I mean, if we are expected to do the heavy lifting of being a creator for the rest of human history, there has to be a mechanism that makes running this race worthwhile for us as individuals.
Well, the text argues the rewards are the exact states we fundamentally desire as humans: happiness, success, and fulfillment.
Okay, the big three.
but it defines them through specific existential mechanics. These aren't just random emotions we chase to feel good. They actually stem from a biological and existential drive to evolve and expand exponentially.
So life structurally rewards you for living out your purposehood.
Yes.
So these feelings are essentially feedback loops built into our human operating system. Like when we do the right thing existentially, our system rewards us.
Exactly. Let's look at how the text says we trigger each one, because the mechanisms are very distinct.
Okay, let's hear it.
First, happiness. The source states we feel happy when we evolve into a better version of ourselves.
Makes sense.
Evolving increases our capacity to handle complexity, which our brains reward biologically. Second is success. We feel successful when we grow and expand into our extensions of being through a concept the text calls selfish altruism.
Selfish altruism.
And third is fulfillment. We feel fulfilled when we invest our lifetime to create an exponential legacy with a positive impact.
Wait, so right there, that second one. Selfish altruism. That sounds like a complete contradiction.
It does sound like an oxymoron at first.
Yeah, how can we be both selfish and altruistic at the same time? Like, if I stay late at work to help a coworker finish a presentation, conventional wisdom says, I am sacrificing my own time and energy for their benefit. How does this text argue I am actually being selfish in that moment?
The paradox resolves when you look at how the text redefines the concept of the self. We tend to think of the self as ending at our skin, right?
So you're my physical body.
But the purposehood framework argues your self extends outward into the environments and people you impact. Your family, your coworkers, your local communities, these are your extensions of being.
Oh, interesting.
So when you stay late to help that coworker, you are certainly being altruistic toward them, but because they are an extension of your professional ecosystem, their elevated performance elevates the entire team.
Which inherently elevates my environment and my own standing.
Exactly. It blurs the line between self-interest and selfless giving.
So my success is inextricably tied to the success of my extensions. By helping the collective team, I am fulfilling my own existential desire to expand my influence, my stability, my environment.
It completely removes the martyrdom from altruism. You don't have to suffer to be a good person. You trigger the feeling of success by doing good for others because their growth literally is your growth. You are expanding your footprint in the world.
Wow. Okay, so we know we need to help those extensions, but the text is adamant that simply harboring warm thoughts toward them is entirely insufficient.
Oh, absolutely. Thoughts and words are not enough.
There is a central metaphor here that really grounds this demanding standard for action. Let's talk about the masterpiece in the attic.
Yes, this is such a great metaphor. The author asks this piercing question. Can you truly be grateful to an artist if their masterpiece is left neglected in your attic?
The logic is impossible to argue with.
Right. You show gratitude to a creator by being grateful for and actively caring for their creation.
So if the universe, nature, and humanity collaborated over billions of years to create the world around you, you cannot just say thank you while letting that creation rot in the dark.
Precisely. Gratitude is an action that unleashes the potential of your family and coworkers. And the text explicitly focuses on extending a helping hand to nature, pointing out that the natural world is suffering from the damage caused by humanity in its careless infancy.
Careless infancy, that's a powerful phrase. Like we behave like toddlers breaking toys without understanding the consequences.
Exactly. And as mature creators in this cosmic chain, true gratitude requires taking action to repair that damage.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Let's apply this to a mundane, everyday moment, because the text fundamentally challenges how almost everyone practices mindfulness today.
It really does.
Say, I'm drinking my morning coffee, I look out the window, it's a beautiful sunny day, the birds are singing. I feel a deep, genuine sense of thankfulness in my chest for that exact moment. I take a deep breath, I feel centered, and then I go to work. According to this framework, that response is a failure.
It stops halfway.
So if I just look out the window, feel thankful for a beautiful sunny day, and go about my business, this text is saying I'm doing it wrong.
It is. The source dictates a strict rule here. Grateful thoughts must be intentions for future actions. Enjoying the bird is a fine start, but you have a responsibility in that very moment to audit your impact.
Audit my impact.
Yeah, you have to reflect on whether your actions and the actions of your extensions, like your company or your family, are actively keeping the earth beautiful for those birds.
Oh, man. So if I just feel thankful for the bird, but then I go to the office and approve a packaging change that pumps more microplastics into the local ecosystem just to save a few cents, my gratitude at the window is entirely hypocritical.
It was an illusion. Your gratitude isn't real until you make the intention to contribute and inspire others. If your actions are keeping the world beautiful, you can express that final stage of self-gratitude because you are fulfilling your role. But if you realize your company's supply chain is actively harming the environment, your feeling of thankfulness isn't real until you make the intention to change that sourcing policy. The thought must translate into a literal, material next step.
Transforming every moment of appreciation into a material call to action is an incredibly demanding standard.
Very demanding.
I mean, if every beautiful day requires an intention of action, the stakes for failing to do so must be severe. What happens to us if we refuse to run the race, if we fail to take these actions?
Well, the source introduces the concept of the life of rejection.
Life of rejection.
Yes, according to the text, the opposite of gratitude happens when a person is lost pursuing what it calls infinite basic desires.
Infinite basic desire. So just chasing short-term physical or ego-driven wants instead of doing the difficult work of a creator.
Exactly. Or worse, they intentionally move toward vacuum and destruction. By rejecting their purposehood to become a creator, they reject nature's incentives.
Consuming instead of creating. Leaving the masterpiece in the attic to gather dust while you just buy more useless trinkets to stuff in the house.
That's the perfect way to visualize it. And by refusing to step into the role of a creator, you reject the very mechanisms that generate happiness, success, and fulfillment.
So what does this all mean for you listening? It entirely reframes the negative emotions that saturate modern society.
What's fascinating here is how the text views stress, anxiety, and regret. It doesn't view them as just random modern ailments or psychological issues.
Okay.
It defines them as an existential punishment for living an ungrateful life and rejecting our purpose.
Existential punishment. Rather than viewing anxiety as a simple check engine light, it sounds more like an existential autoimmune disease.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, like if we're all cells in this massive cosmic body, rejecting our purpose is the equivalent of the body attacking itself. We are attacking the whole by being selfish in the wrong way.
Yes, exactly.
The anxiety and stress we feel isn't an external attack. It is the friction of our own biological and existential systems rebelling against our stagnation.
That scale captures the severity perfectly. The text presents this as a stark binary. You either embrace your purposehood and receive the existential reward, happiness, success, fulfillment, or you reject it and face the existential punishment.
The stress, anxiety, regrets.
Right. The system is functioning exactly as it should by making you uncomfortable when you stagnate. The text confronts the reader directly. It asks, which reward or punishment are you feeling now?
Yeah, it forces a really uncomfortable evaluation. You aren't a victim of circumstance if you are lying awake at night with regret. According to this philosophy, you are experiencing the direct result of consuming without creating.
Yes.
You are hoarding your desires, neglecting the creation, and facing the existential punishment for dropping the baton.
It leaves absolutely no middle ground. The text challenges if we even know the true meaning of happiness, success, and fulfillment, suggesting that until we adopt this active life of gratitude, we've only been experiencing hollow imitations of those feelings.
Okay, let's briefly recap this journey, because we have covered a lot of ground today.
We really have.
We have pulled gratitude out of that passive little nightstand journal and thrust it into a demanding, active, cosmic chain of creation.
We defined happiness and success as structural byproducts of evolving yourself and practicing selfish altruism with your extensions.
And we realized that true gratitude requires pulling the masterpiece out of the attic, taking material action to protect those metaphorical tweeting birds.
So, to leave you with a final thought to mull over, building on the text's assertion that our thoughts of gratitude must become intentions for action, I want you to try something today.
Okay, what's the assignment?
Look at one mundane object near you today that you feel grateful for. Maybe it's the phone in your hand, your coffee cup, or the shoes on your feet. Think about the massive supply chain that created it, the minerals mined from the earth, the human hands that assembled it, the fuel burned to ship it to you. Instead of just feeling a warm appreciation for having it, ask yourself, what specific action will I take today to honor the humanity and the nature that constructed this?
Turn the feeling into a tangible intention. That is powerful. And to carry that intention forward, the source material leaves us with an incredibly grounding mantra for you to carry with you. I breathe in gratitude. I breathe out ease.
The energy and raw material you take in from the universe must be transformed, refined, and released back out into the world through your actions.
I breathe in gratitude. I breathe out ease. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Mhm.
Keep seeking those aha moments, and we will catch you next time.